Hi guys, welcome to another video. So in this video we are going to spend the investment banking questions, and apart from that we have to finalize the what is the valuation methodology we generally use in the investment banking, and what are the common investment banking questions generally asked in the interviews. So what would be the liquidation value, and how produce the highest valuation? So this is higher unusual. Let's say it could happen with a company has substantially hard assets and the market has every undervalued for the specific reason. We can say that the earning miss or the cyclicality, something like that. Or as a result, the companies comparable companies and the precedent transactions would like produce a lower value as well. If the assets were valued high enough, the liquidation valuation might give a higher value than the other methodologies. So this is something like that. Apart from that, let's say if we take the example, let's go back to the 2004 and look at the Facebook back when it had no profit and the no revenue. How would you value it? So you would use the comparable companies or the precedent transactions and look at the more creative multiples such as EV by unique visitors or EV by page views. So something like that. It's a EV by revenue or EV by EBITDA. So you wouldn't use a fair value of the fair future DCF, or because you can't reasonably predict the cash flows for a company that is not even making the money yet. And this is something like that. That's a very common wrong answer. It's a given by the interviewers. But when you can't predict the cash flow, use the other metrics. You can't say that we don't predict the cash flow anyways. So this is something like that. Next, like would you use in the connection with the free cash flow multiples, equity value or the enterprise value? So this is something like a trick question. For the undervalued or the unlevered free cash flow, you would use the enterprise value, but for the levered free cash flow, you would use the equity value. So this is something like that. Remember, unlevered free cash flow exclude the interest and represent the money available to all the investors, whereas the levered FCFF already include the effects of the interest expenses and the money that is therefore only available to equity investors. So something like that. Debt investors have already been paid with the interest payments and the principal repayment they receive. So this is something that is working here, and you never use the equity value or the EBITDA value, but there are the many cases where you might use the equity or EBITDA value. So it's a very rare to see this. Like sometime large financial institutions with the big cash balances and the negative enterprise value, so you might use the equity value by the revenue instead. You might see the equity value by revenue if you listed a set of the financial institutions or the non-financial institutions. Like you are showing the revenue multiples for the non-financial institutions, I want to show something similar for the financial institutions as well. So this is something like that. Apart from that, like in the most cases you'll be using the other multiples, p by bv by banks or anyways, etc. So this is something like that. How do you select the comparable companies or the precedent transactions? So there's three main ways to select the companies and transactions. First one is the industry classifications, then the financial criteria, then the geography. Or for the precedent transactions, you often limit the set based on the date. Only look at the transactions in the past 1 to 2 years. And the most important factor is the industry. There's always used to screen for the company or transactions, and for the rest may or may not be used depending on how specific you want to be. Let's create a few examples. Comparable company screening: oil gas producers like the market cap 5 billion worth. Precedent transaction screening: airline M&A transaction over the past 2 years involving the sailors, something like that. So how do you apply the three valuation methodology to actually get a value from the company you are looking at? Sometimes this simply facts get lost in discussion with valuation methodology. That's a median multiple for the set of the companies or transactions, or multiply it by the relevant metrics from the company you are valuing it. So this is something like that. And one thing we just want to refer, like this is a valuation methodology for the market parameters, and if the median EBITDA from the set of the present transaction is 8x, your company's EBITDA is 500 million, then the enterprise value is around 4 billion. Goes to 500 into 8, so something like that. So this is one thing, like valuation methodology we are using right now for the different parameters for the different market, for the different scenarios. So these are some questions for the investment banking. Follow the channel for the more content, and let's meet in the next video.